Hello everyone, welcome and good morning to this special Bath Life Business Club. It's about the events of Bath, sponsored once more by Mojus Druitt. So we'll be exploring with several leading figures in the Bath events sector, speaking on a panel covering the big upcoming events, insight into the sector. This is our panel this morning. As it happens, it's an all-female panel, which is just very lovely. So Kate Abbey, Bath Festivals, Carole Banwell at Bath City FC, Holly Tarquini of FilmBath, and Steph Dodd of Bath Boules and other Media Clash events, such as the Bath Life Awards. We'll be going through their events, what their prospects are, what they've learnt, what advice they have for others, and just what might be happening in the world of events in the second half this year. We have all, maybe us perhaps more so than many, we've all missed our events so greatly, whether as residents or business people or simply people who want to enjoy our city of Bath. They are coming back, and they have been coming back for some time, and there'll be the learnings that they've had of hybrid events, virtual events and so on, but physical events too. Send any questions using the Q&A button below and ask anonymously if you'd like. Note it's being recorded and will be on our YouTube channel this afternoon. So we thank our sponsor, Mojus Druitt. We look forward to being back IRL, as people say, with the business clubs in the autumn. Let's hear from Louise Kelly, Head of Marketing at Mojus Druitt. Louise, are you with us? You are indeed.
Good morning, everyone. Hi.
Very good. How are you doing?
Yeah, really good. Enjoyed the sun last week, which was nice to get everybody out and about. So yeah, it's all good at the moment.
Few things lift the soul greater than the sun. I guess perhaps events coming back lifts the soul for us particularly. So what's changed and what's changing for Mojus Druitt as we all emerge in the context of events?
I think over the last year, lots has changed. I think we've taken a lot of things very positively out of, the pandemic. We've had a lot of technology changes. We've reviewed our marketing. We've done things we've never done before, these sorts of video meetings and things like that. And I think we've learned to embrace that and sort of, as a business pull together. Everybody's got laptops and mobiles now, so we can work wherever. So it's been tough, but we've taken some very positive things from it and some learns. I think moving forward now, I think we're all keen to get back to events. We've missed them. So we're starting to see some events coming on board. We've had one in one of our other offices in Sherborne last week, a business awards, which was sort of our first sort of back out into seeing people in a real life place. And that was nice. People have missed that. And obviously now moving forward, we've got Bath Boules, Bath Life Awards, and we're doing some cycling with the Bath Rugby Foundation with their sportif in July. So any events that are coming up, we're seizing them because we've missed them. And we're also wanting to support those that are putting on the events, realizing how hard it's been, literally everything stopped. So, wherever we can, we are keen to get back out and support those events and the people running them. I don't think we're brave enough at the moment to do our own events. We're working with the experts and doing that, but we're doing lots of coffees with clients that we can now go out and see again because we've missed that interaction. So I think
if I may say for Mojus Druitt specifically, but for other companies as well, it has been extraordinarily heartwarming how companies such as Mojus Druitt have realised the value in events and the desire to support. And genuinely, thank you very much. And the opportunity for us all going forwards to get together face to face, maybe hybrid as well, is really powerful. Louise, thank you ever so much, and to you in this great re-emergence as we all bound forward again.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thanks. A couple of things from Bath Life before we get going. Please look out for our next Bath Life Business Surgery. We've run a number of these actually with Mojus Druitt and several other companies. This next one, as you can see, is with the University of Bath School of Management, June 24th, about entrepreneurialism. It's with the acclaimed business expert, Margaret Heffernan. Please just Google the name and you'll be blown away by her depth of experience. It'll be fascinating for anyone interested in business thinking. It's properly unmissable. The business surgery is their bespoke deep dive sessions showcasing companies' expertise through discussion. Please talk to us because we can all do with advice about how we promote our businesses. And they will be continuing as virtual in the future. And they have that enduring value available on our Bath Life YouTube channel. Bath Life Awards, I'm sure Steph in a moment will have something further to say about this, but the headlines of these, we're back on 9th of September at the Assembly Rooms. We had a terrific grand reveal day last month. Over 400 nominations and many brilliant companies were shortlisted. Again, the video of that is on the YouTube channel, and the list of finalists is on the awards website. And we have a great roster of sponsors for the awards, led by our headliners, the Royal Crescent Hotel and Spa. And if you're an ambitious company or one seeking to rebuild the business pipeline, or simply just to say, you know, we are here, we are supporting the businesses and companies of Bath, please do consider sponsoring. As Louise touched on there, it's good when everyone comes together and supports events such as this, and of course others are available, but which can help promote the business of Bath. So, you know, that day, that evening in September, when everyone comes together from the coolest of the indies, the largest of local companies, after this year of all years, it'll just be the best celebration of business in Bath. We've been overwhelmed by that support so far. And just to say, on tickets, we're not putting them on sale just yet until we've got the full guidance from government. Not the government's advisors on the Bath Life Awards, but you know what I mean. Bath Property Awards back on the 22nd of October at the Apex. And I should mention, of course, our headliner there is Motors Through It once more. Many months of marketing, lunchtime and afternoon event, biggest gathering of property and processes companies since some pre-lapsarian day in 2019. Sponsorships are available. There's one more thing. I mentioned about entrepreneurs. Well, I want to talk a little bit about Ontraconf, which is our new conference for entrepreneurs in the region. Entrepreneurs are central to the city. New ways of looking at the world, new business models, new services, products, jobs, new opportunities for advisors, investors, financial companies, lawyers, academic institutions, marketing agencies, and so much more. That's why we're launching Ontraconf. The future is unwritten. It's virtual this year on July 1st, and it's pitched at the startups, the very new businesses, and the scale-ups, the larger scale companies, some of whom may be even the breakout big value players in years to come. What we're seeking to do is to give profound insights, valuable inspiration, catalyze partnerships, connecting all parts of the value chain. Please talk to us. There's a month or so to go, just under a month to go, if you wish to be involved from speaking to sponsoring. We've got a very full program on that day. Have a look at this. This is our 3 keynotes. We've been so pleased with the support we've got here. Beat these 3 names. We can't. One, Chris Anderson, owner of the world-renowned TED conferences, talking about wisdom from dozens of inspirational entrepreneurs he's known across the planet, plus his own remarkable entrepreneurial story. And Hyatt, just unrivaled top-level first-hand experience as a former business partner of Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, and then she was chief of staff at Google, and we'll be talking about business strategies. And then there's Dale Vince, idiosyncratic leading green energy entrepreneur and pioneer, owns the eco-friendly Forest Green Rovers, plus a portfolio of green companies, and is also the executive producer of Seaspiracy. And of course, he owns and founded Ecotricity. There'll be exclusive research, practical advice, and much more. Please do join us. We have a number of free conference passes available via the Ontraconf site, courtesy of our sponsors. And yeah, the future is unwritten, and it's up to us to write it. Of course, at the heart of all we do is Bath Life. We're really proud to publish our magazine that celebrates the very best of this incredible city. Here's our most recent cover, and indeed some of our other covers. It's a gorgeous sort of showcase and shop window for our city, and we're really proud of the support we've had from the businesses of Bath during these times. We're here to celebrate the good stuff. Thank you for your support. Right, let's do this, shall we? Let's bring forward our event speakers. First, we'll be hearing from Kate Abbey, who is the Interim Programme Director of Bath Festivals. So Kate, if you'd like to step forward. And hello, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, not at all. Well, thanks for joining. So how did you and the team keep the creative flame flickering for Bath Festivals in those horrible days of the winter?
It's tough, isn't it? Working from home, we're a collaborative team. We normally feed off each other's energy. And yeah, I'm not going to lie, I think January, February time, particularly of 2021, was difficult. We got through it by imagining a festival-like events that we've had before, with musicians and authors and speakers coming to Bath. But we also imagined what else we could do, celebrating the very best of the local talent that we have, with projects including Bath Reads, looking at how we might put events on digitally so that we could reach a global audience, and also our local audience who maybe didn't feel comfortable yet about coming out to those live events.
So the festival completed towards the end of May, and that's primarily lit, but also music. Just tell us how that went, and particularly that point about audiences as well.
We're still pinching ourselves, if I'm honest, that we managed to go ahead. We had about 50 events, you're right, predominantly literature, with a few incredible music events in places like the Roman Baths and the Bath Abbey. And everything was socially distanced in all of the venues. Our hub was at the assembly rooms. And it was very emotional, actually. A lot of audience members were coming out for the first time to see live events. I have never been backstage with so many very, very nervous authors. I mean, Richard Osman and Miles Jupp, who kicked off a big event for us at the Forum on Wednesday, were like noticeably, you know, they were jittery backstage. You know, lots of people had never talked about their books, had not been in front of a live audience, had not heard applause.
I cannot imagine Richard Osman being nervous or jittery at all. He just
yeah, genuinely though, you wouldn't have noticed it on stage, but the gossip is backstage. You know, I was with him. He was. I think it felt so familiar and also different. You know, the audience were in masks. We had strict one-way systems. There was hand sanitizing. There was track and tracing. It's that real interesting balance of how do you make something fun but also safe. And we had
just to ask that point, did you have a sense that the audience actually relaxed into it once they got over the hump of it? They still very broadly the same type of experience as previously?
I really think so. I definitely think that first Wednesday when my literature event started at the assembly rooms, and we just didn't know, but we had the most incredible volunteers and stewards who came out in their droves and I think one of the replies from the audience was you could see the smiles behind the masks. You could really get that feeling. The rooms looked beautiful. The authors then relaxed on stage. We were still able to use question and answers. People were still able to buy signed copies of books. So by Thursday and Friday, people were returning to more and more events, and you could see and feel a visible relaxation in the room. Yeah, definitely.
So that was then, and I'm not limiting it or belittling it by saying that. That was then, but what's next? What have you learned? We'll talk about learnings more generally in a moment with the panel, but what specifically for you, and how are you going to be different going forwards as an organisation?
I mean, I think honestly, we're immeasurably changed as an organisation. We have learned to be far more collaborative with as many organisations and partnerships locally as possible. I think we've learned the power of being very flexible, the power of planning, the power of teamwork together, of supporting us through, you know, when times get tough and you don't know whether these events are going to go ahead or not. And I think we've really learned that we live in the most incredible city, and that actually the venues that we have access to that we sometimes take for granted are stupendous and suit us so well, and we can add interesting things to that. We added a couple of literary walks this year with the House of Frankenstein, and I commissioned a Bridgerton walk with Fred Moore to capitalise on, I don't know if you've heard of it, Greg, a little Netflix series.
Apparently, yeah.
And they both sold out because people obviously feel happy being outside. So we've learned that we can bring new ideas in and trial things, and that actually if we partner and we find you know, local organisations, whether it's partnering with the Holborn, whether it's using amazing Bath Spa writing alumni, whether it's using Bath bloggers like Sarah Baker to come and share events, or head gardener Jane Moore, that you can really pull in amazing local talent, and then you can also digitally send it out to a global audience who get to watch these incredible digital filmed contents of Bath.
Well, I think you've neatly touched on three very key points, which I'm sure we've all experienced in recent times. One, that lockdown makes everything local. We've all fallen in love with our cities and seen our cities anew in these times. Two, the power of changed thinking, of collaboration, of pivoting, and so on. But three, at perhaps a deeper level, the worst of times, people share their best, which I think is really touching. Yeah, really good indeed. So, Kate, for now, if I can ask you to pop back off camera, we'll have you join for the panel session in a moment, but thank you. Let's bring forward Carole Banwell, General Manager of Bath City FC. Carole, good morning, how are you?
Morning, Greg, I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having us along today.
Oh, you're also courteous. Very good indeed. Talk us through the 2019-20 season. Tough on the pitch, tough off the pitch, with the redevelopment plans being rejected.
Yeah, it was horrendous. In the space of 5 days, towards the end of March last year, we had our planning application rejected and told that we couldn't play football anymore. So it was just the most hideous 5 days, and you're kind of reeling from that. But we sort of ploughed forward. We managed to get the playoffs completed. So Bath City did actually qualify for the playoffs last season, or season before, should I say. So we managed to get through to those. So we sort of stumbled and staggered towards the end of a completed season, and then hoped that there would just be a short delay before we started the next season. But we kept waiting, and things kept changing, and all kinds of unexpected things would happen, and financing wouldn't be forthcoming. And so eventually the season got started in October rather than the August that it would normally be, but without any fans, which of course is just not the same at all. But we were hopeful that we'd be able to have fans at some point nearer towards the end of the year, but then that didn't materialise either. So we haven't had fans inside Twerton Park since the 7th of March 2020, and it's just horrid. We just can't wait to get people back now, and that's happening. We're hopeful that we will be having a near normal season starting in 6 weeks' time.
Sports people without fans, actors without audiences. There is a vibe, there's a relationship which is lost. We wish you all the best for that. Just talk a little bit about the new season, new plan, what's coming, and when, however contingent those plans may be.
Absolutely. Some things are fixed. So we know that our league season will start on the 14th of August. We haven't got the fixtures yet, but they'll be coming out soon, and we'll be getting those out as soon as we have them. But we do have a really great pre-season schedule firmly in the diary. So 10th of July, we've got, I'm not allowed to say I wish I could, but we've got a fairly big team coming for the 10th of July.
Carole, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. That's not acceptable. You've got to say that. Give us a clue anyway. Where in the country? What letter of the alphabet?
I really can't. I will be shocked, honestly. I really can't say. Just watch this space. We'll let you know soon. It's exciting with names that everybody will have heard of that will be playing and managing. So it's really exciting. So when
are Man United coming to Twerton?
Do you know, we've actually had Man United here earlier this season. We've spent this last season, we shared our ground with Bristol City Women in the Women's Super League. So they had Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal, all those big teams along. But not quite at the men's level yet, but who knows. But yeah, 10th of July, we've got a big homecoming match, the first one since March last year, which we can't wait for. There's then 2 other pre-season friendlies at home, a number of away ones quite close by. And then we start proper on the 14th of August, and we are hopeful for a near normal season. We're outside. Everybody I think, pretty much accepts now that the outside transmission is pretty low. So whatever restrictions we need to abide by, we will, but we're pretty hopeful that we'll have a near normal season in terms of getting people back and doing the things that we used to do and providing.
One thing I suspect is not quite normal, your commercial position. You have a hole of some sort, no doubt, but you have some commercial opportunities available, like shirt sponsorship.
Yeah, absolutely. We were actually a lot luckier, I think, the last season than many clubs at our level. Most clubs just depend really exclusively on football revenue. And we recognised when we became community owned 4 years ago with a new business plan that we had to generate non-football revenue. So we spent a lot of time doing that, and certain arrangements that we had with people like CrossFit, WeBuyAnyCar.com, the Mint Room, Curo, all these different commercial partners who were there and paying us revenue on non-match days. Now, whilst those organisations obviously also had difficulties through the pandemic, they still were able to pay us certain amounts, and it meant that we could actually continue and do okay actually through the pandemic in that sense. But CrossFit has been so successful that they actually are now moving on. So we've got space available there that it is available for hire, either on a permanent sort of interim basis or just by the day or hour or whatever. So there's heaps of really versatile space there to be rented.
So beta path to Carol's store, that old Joni Mitchell line, you don't know what it's like till it's gone. Well, it effectively has been gone. So if you believe in this enterprise, as many do throughout the city, please support Bath City FC. Thanks, Carole, for now. If you come away, because we're going to have our fourth speaker, Holly, or third speaker, Holly Tarkini of FilmBath. Holly, hello.
Hello, good morning.
Holly has alerted me that she's 1, outdoors, and 2, has a dog with her. So this is going to go well, isn't it?
Not just a dog, I've got an 8-week-old puppy. So
oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. It gets better. All right. Anyway, never mind that. You had that complete rarity for this whole world of events, highly successful event in 2020. Talk us through it, how it came about, and then into perhaps what you learned from it.
yeah, it was amazing. So the film festival is normally around 50 feature films in 6 or 7 venues in Bath every November. And obviously last year in May, we thought we're not going to be doing that. And so we actually did 2 things. So I contacted 3 other film festivals, Cambridge, Cornwall, and Brighton, who run at a similar time to us, and said, I think it's likely that we're all going to be doing online film festivals at the same time. And suddenly we're in competition with each other because we'll be available to the nation. Shall we do something together? And so we put on an amazing collaborative film festival that was online in November. And simultaneously, the reason we run a film festival is because what we really love doing is collectively watching remarkable films together. And I recently found out that audiences' heartbeats synchronize. So I know, isn't that remarkable? So when they're watching a film or a play, the audience get into sync with one another. So there is something really profound about, which we all know and is what we've all missed.
Does it sync to the emotion or to the music? I mean, God, if you're all watching Jules together, that could be problematic.
Yeah, no, it absolutely. It's that kind of, we all pretend we're not animals, but we are fundamentally, and also we are tribal. So we get in, and they've also done fantastic research which shows that chimpanzees that watch films together then get along with each other better. So yeah, everybody's missed watching things collectively. So we were really determined to try and do something where we could collectively watch film.
And you had that fabulous event at Green Park. So that was over a week or so, or 10 days or so?
Yeah, so it was much shorter than usual. We just did 6 days in Green Park Station, but we built a cinema quality screening, and then everybody had headphones and their own radios they plugged the headphones into, because the trouble with Green Park Station with audio, especially if you're watching kind of profound deep films, is it disappears into that lovely ceiling. So we were all in there like silent disco with our headphones on, watching amazing films. So we opened with a preview of Nomadland, which of course has gone on to win every single award. And it was brilliant. The audiences were magnificent. Our volunteers were fantastic. It was such a joy of an event to have.
I'd pick up that latter word. It was a joyous experience being there. I think we're also not quite pinching ourselves, thinking this is really just wonderful. So congratulations for you for that. But just look forward now. How confident can you be about your plans for this autumn, and what's going to be different this time around?
So I think we can't be confident at all about what's happening in autumn. I mean, all we know is that we don't know what will be happening. Your next speaker, interestingly, Margaret Heffernan, who you're interviewing with the University of Bath, is our chair. And she is fantastic at guiding the kind of FilmBath ship. So we're doing lots of things this year. Sorry, the puppy's just trying to escape the garden. So I've got a new F-rated podcast. So the F rating is a feminist film rating which champions women in film. So we're going to be launching that in the autumn, which is very exciting. We've got a whole new fundraising approach and strategy and idea. We've got a huge event that we're planning. I think you came, and lots of 850 people came to our screening of Joan of Arc in Bath Abbey, with 22 musicians, with music composed by Portishead and Goldfrapp, Adrian and Will. And we're doing another piece of work with them that we're hoping to launch. And simultaneously, we're planning for every permutation of what we might be able to do as an in-life film festival.
Well, I'm sure when the pieces have stopped moving, and they are largely external pieces, I'm sure, rather than internal, we'll be absolutely delighted through Bath Live to champion all that you're doing. Us, like so many, are big fans of FilmBath and admire the way that you absolutely came through in the autumn. Thank you very much for now, Holly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next up, our final speaker, and then we'll have all the panel back. This is Steph Dodd, recently appointed as MD for some outfit called Media Clash, having been events director. So we're going to primarily talk about events and specifically about the Bath Boules, which is bouncing back in July. Steph, good morning.
Hi.
Hello. Where are you up to on the planning? What's Bath Boule going to be like this year compared with previous years?
Yeah, so we're cracking on with the planning now. It's not going to be the same, obviously, because of all of the mitigations that we're putting in place for COVID reasons, but it will. I'm confident if everything goes to plan, it will be just as fun. So we won't be closing the roadways this year. That's more due to the Cleveland Bridge closure and traffic movement through the city, but also means that we can manage attendee numbers within the square. So we'll be having everything in the square. It's all completely outdoors, so that gives us an extra level of confidence. I think, as Kate was saying earlier, people are quite comfortable doing stuff outdoors now, and we'll have a good amount of social distancing. Everything will be open plan food stalls, bar, and then of course the Boule tournament across the 23rd to 25th of July.
In some ways, the tournament part is almost incidental.
I know, I say that last.
Because it really does matter, of course, particularly if you manage to get through to the semis, let alone the final. But actually, the Boule is about bringing people together, of businesses coming together, of residents coming together, all for charity. And how's the support gone so far for the Boule this year?
It's been amazing, actually. It's been really so heartwarming and encouraging. The people are just desperate to come back to events and come back together, aren't they? And we've really felt that. So we've had a lot of support from local businesses through sponsorship, which is really, really welcome. We need that. We need businesses to support, and this is a great. All events are good to support to get everybody back together. But the proceeds of the Bath Boule all go to local charities as well. So they've missed that funding, and this is a really great way to give it back to them, as well as bring the local community and local businesses together to have some fun.
And all led by Brew and Dolphin as headline sponsors, which is excellent of them. They some time back in those days when we're all doing normal business, they acquired a business called Epoch, a brilliant Bath business, and now under the enlarged Brew and Dolphin are the headline sponsors. But Steph, tell us. Anyone watching this, businesses, organisations, are there any team tickets left? They usually go so fast.
Yeah, so we do have a few teams left on each day. So Friday, Saturday and Sunday team availability, which you can book via the website. There's still sponsorship opportunity as well, so get in touch if you'd like to sponsor. And we also run a really popular raffle across 3 days, so if you're a company out there and you just want to give something to support, then donate a raffle prize. We'd love that, and help us raise some money over the weekend.
It's a little bit like Kate's point earlier that when people are there on the day, it will look and feel and sound like the Boule, with the music, the drink, dare I say, the socialising, and just the oddness of this French game being played in the most English of settings. I suspect you and others just can't wait for that.
I can't wait. It's going to be so good to get back out there, and I'm so excited listening to everybody else speak about their events as well, and all of us getting back out there and getting together. It'll be fantastic.
Let's put the clock forward, 6 weeks, can't do the maths, to 8 weeks to September, and the Bath Life Awards. At this stage, you're taking a slightly contingent view, which is we're intending running it, but we'll discover the exact details shortly. Is that the position?
It is, yeah. We're all kind of waiting with bated breath for the announcements of next week. So at the moment, we are really hoping to go ahead with a Bath Life Awards as normal, filling out the assembly rooms with any measures in place that we need to put in. Obviously, with any event, even in normal times, the most important thing is the well-being of your attendees, and it's something that we're really used to in this industry, is you know, risk assessing and making sure that everybody has a safe time and a good time. So we're always focused on that. We've got those extra elements, but at the moment we're operating a waiting list for tickets for the Bath Life Awards just until we know what our full capacities are going to be. And it'll be really interesting to see the outcome of the events tests that the government have done as well, because I think we're expecting quite a bit of guidance from that moving forward of how we can operate. So that'll be really interesting.
I have to confess, in a very selfless way, I'm taking part in an event test. It's called a test match next week. So I'm going to be watching the cricket for a couple of days. But I think that whole sense of people being together is so valuable. And presumably the Bath Life Awards, like others, may have a virtual iteration as well for those who may not be able to be there on the day.
Yeah, definitely. I think the virtual stuff it has been so interesting, hasn't it? And we've all kind of upskilled and adapted and pivoted in the last year in terms of what we can do live streaming wise and virtually. And it does add so much value to us as event organisers for increasing the audience, but also assets for afterwards and what we can do to share what happens during that time. So that's been a really exciting learning curve, I think. And yeah, definitely, if we are limited with capacity with the Bath Life Awards, then it would make sense for us to live stream it and have that kind of element. You can't ever be in there in real life, can you? But that's a way to reach more people.
Well, I think that's one of the marketing tags of the Bath Life Awards, isn't it? Nothing beats being there, but you know. Exactly,
it's true.
It's true, but we should see where we get on that. And you know, perhaps standing right back from this, I would say that the support we've had in this event, and of course many others as well, as Louise was talking about, really, from companies, has been extraordinary, and we're grateful for that. Steph, for now, let's keep you on camera, as it were, but let's welcome back the full panel. If you could all rejoin, please, that'd be great. And just to say, we have had a number of questions, and please do ask those questions. Also waiting for Holly to capture her dog or wherever she's up to. I'll just pick up a couple of points. Oh, hello, Holly. There we are. You're back in the house.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to put the dog's gone bonkers because the dog's too tired, so now the dog needs to go to bed.
Okay. All human life okay.
But I'm here paying attention to you.
Yeah, but okay, no, all right, fine. Didn't think you weren't. I just want to pick up, we've had a couple of questions in much the same sort of area. Someone's asked, I would like to know, with reference to Milson Street closure to cars during the day, if the council are working for the people or the people are working for the council. There's political. A similar one, how local businesses addressing the retail locational obsolescence affecting high streets, and that point's been iterated elsewhere. Clearly, that point about how this council and other councils have been, you know, attempting to navigate as you each have, is complex. We will be picking up in a new event we'll be running in the autumn called The Future of Cities, where we'll be exactly exploring how companies and councils are using their cityscapes perhaps differently. But could I ask about that level of support you've had from the council and other broadly similar organisations in terms of your events? How has that been?
Are you asking me, Greg?
I don't mind, whoever fancies jumping.
I'm really happy to jump in and say that they don't help us whatsoever. They don't give us a penny, and on the contrary, often make things very difficult to do. So, for example, we did some fantastic screenings in Fox Hill that were like a little festival. We had an inflatable screen. Some of them were cycle powered, so you had to bicycle in order to get the projector and the audio working. And they made it so expensive to hire the park that we couldn't do it anymore. And so actually, yeah, I mean, Baines, because it bings from Liberal Democrat to Labour, its first answer to anything is no, and that might be risky and we might get criticised for it. That's my experience of them.
Why don't you say what you really think? Thank you. Would others either agree, demur, or give a different perspective, or not wish to join that part of the conversation?
At the risk of not particularly giving my opinion, I don't tend to work, the area that I tend to work with is predominantly the authors and the musicians coming in to the city. So my experience generally is with collaborating with organisations, with partnerships, with sponsors, as opposed to the council. So I think I might have to duck out in case I give the wrong feedback from the festival as a whole.
Okay, please feel free to join in, either Steph or Carole. The standback observation I'd have about that point is that, you know, in a recent conversation with Baines, I think there is a political will to act differently in the city. I'm not making a party political point, but a desire to use this time for a loosening and opening up. We've all understood how to use our cities better, and there appears to be something of the political will. So anybody watching this who supports that broader sense of how we might navigate and enjoy our cities better, please support whichever initiatives which Baines will come forward with. We will also be running a session around this area as well. It's complex, no one has any clear answers, but we can do better as a city. There must be better ways of using our cities than currently.
I would just quickly add to that. I think with kind of what Holly's saying is that I agree that we've found that the council have been quite risk averse and are, you know, very protective of what they do and exposing themselves. But I agree with what you were just saying, Greg, that it would be nice if we could just be a bit more ambitious as a city and have those opportunities. I think that's what that the person's kind of alluding to in that question as well. Just opening up of the city centre and using events as well to kind of galvanise that.
I mean, in your different ways, you four have expressed that, you know, from a business or an arts organisation point of view, you start with the end point, which is we want to do this, and how can we do it? Perhaps Baines starts on this first point, which is we're not going to do this unless you explain to us how, which is complex.
Greg, can I add to that it would be incredibly easy for the council to engage with all of us, because we're all doing fantastic things in the city despite the council. And I fear that the reason that you have an all-female panel, and I do hope you point it out when the panels are all male, is probably because we are not the best paid of people in events. And that is obviously appalling, but it doesn't mean anything, but we do all work incredibly hard to put on fantastic things for the benefit of the city. And it would seem obvious that if Baines want to do something different, that what they do is engage with the people that are already doing the work without any help from them, and say, how could we help? How could we help that doesn't cost us loads of money? And we could all tell them that.
Thank you. Obviously, I hear the point very clearly. Let's step from that into a slightly broader point, which is this. What have you learnt from these times, either from your specific areas or about the events area? What have you learnt that might endure subsequently?
I mean, I've learned. I think my role or my confidence in what we can achieve is just changed forever, if I'm honest. I think we're just much more nimble, we're more flexible. We don't get frightened by the idea of things changing or things moving, or running 4 different scenarios in our heads at any one time, or asking more for help for people who might have skills that we don't have yet, or saying yes to things, you know. Trying podcasts, which we've never done before, recording content live in venues and then streaming it, which we've never done before, reaching school children across the globe with partnering with other festivals, Toronto, Jamaica this year, Brooklyn, Dublin, Boswell, Bradford. You know, we've never done anything like that before, and it's a sort of testament to the team across the whole area of us, whether it's programming, producing, marketing, sponsorship. You know, we need more people to come on board and help us, because actually I think we feel really energized and invigorated. If it's not also fair to say that we also feel sometimes incredibly tired and flat. It's like it's been such an emotional sort of roller coaster. So I've also learned to really manage the flow of that, and to reach out to team when you need to, and to feel inspired by, again, like Steph was saying, that it's so exciting to see what everybody else is planning all the time. People are just still moving forward. So I think I've learned to just not sit still, and to just keep dodging and ducking and trying to come through with it, and then celebrate the wins that you do get. You know, really stop for a moment and think, yeah, we did that. I'm really proud of us as a team, and and what's next. So
yeah. And related point, Kate, is that if you see something which is good, whether it's in your team or some other event or some other activity, praise someone, find the good to praise, because we're all buoyed up and we all need buoying up in these times particularly. And I'm sure people will have experienced that this morning just from your testimonies. Talk about that point about for each of you about being, do you think people are actually more excited than ever about events? It's been sort of this pent up, bottled up, whatever. It feels like a sort of fresh beginning and a new appetite to return. Are you feeling that from your various customers and clients?
We're feeling that at the football club, Greg, absolutely. You know, we've, like Kate was saying, we've really learned that we've got to be adaptable, and just as soon as something happens, then we've got to change to what we thought it was going to be and just move forward and make something else happen instead. And we've really noticed or found the value of people, our own people with the way that they've adapted, but our fans in particular. You know, we've had, like everybody, real difficulties with the financial challenges of the pandemic. And so we launched a bounce back appeal, a crowdfunder, which ended up raising something like £54,000 in just 2 or 3 weeks, you know, and that just shows the dedication of people to what we're doing, the appetite for things to get back to normal, and you know that just that desire for the football club to continue to be sustainable and just not be able to wait to get back to those live games and all being together, and that the value that you get, that cohesion, that social glue that football gives, you know, just all being together and all speaking football.
I think that social glue point applies across all that you're doing, that sense of communal shared experience, enjoyment, and yeah, we've one way or another, we've all been deprived of that for quite some time. Come on to the hybrid offer. You know, I can imagine there may be some hybrid offer when it comes to football, but certainly for the other three panelists, do you think that going forwards you will have a sort of blend of, you know, real life, which is the primary focus, that's the collective experience, the virtual for the reach, the worldwide points that Kate was making, that hybrid model will both endure but also evolve. Steph, can I bring you in on that one?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting one, because it's obviously such a hot topic in our world at the moment of virtual and hybrid, and it's something that's still very much happening. Like I said, with the Bath Life Awards, it probably will end up being a bit of both. Personally, I think long term, some events it is better that you're there in real life and you experience it, and it might be that the virtual part is kind of the afterwards thing, like I was saying earlier, that you kind of can watch and tune into bits and bobs and you use it for your marketing. So I think that side of it's here to stay. But what I think is quite interesting is having events specifically that are virtual. So you've got your real life ones, but some particularly kind of the more corporate events or trade shows or training, learning, and you know, even down to meetings and things like that, I think we found can be much more efficient and much more user friendly as a virtual event. So I think there might be a shift in that way, that we do some events specifically that are virtual, rather than do everything as a hybrid.
Yeah, it may be that there's divergence, that the real life are, dare I say, even more in real life, and one values that, there's an extra premium almost on it. And then yes, there's the longer reach of more knowledge-based virtual events. Kate, your thoughts on this area?
Yeah, I think I agree with Steph. So this year we'll be, in the autumn, we'll be running some live events in Bath for the Children's Literature Festival, but we'll also be running for the second year, the Reading is Magic, which will be virtual only, aimed at schools and all free content. So that is interesting because our local schools benefit hugely from that without having to travel into Bath, the cost and the inconvenience of that, as well as any schools and in fact homeschooled children, and in fact families and parents at the weekends can also dial in and watch 25 events for free. So my issue, or my point of interest, I think, moving forward is how we monetize that as an arts charity. We're essentially moved from putting on 2 live festival events each year to really this year we will have done 4, because we do, you know, the hybrid for May and 2 festivals in October, and good digital, which is what we now have to produce, because in 2020 you could get away with, you know, a basic Zoom chat between a couple of authors and everyone was very grateful and thrilled. But now already our appetite is growing and our understanding of what is a more sophisticated way of communicating with people digitally is growing exponentially. But the ability to monetize that hasn't yet caught up in a way. And also, we're a charity, we want to make it accessible. We want that virtual content to be accessible to anybody who wants to dip in and out of it. And yet it is a very big financial undertaking to be able to put that on. And I think that's something yet that maybe businesses, authors, musicians haven't quite yet caught up with, that actually if you want us to put this on and have a more reach, we will need more sponsors to allow us that comfort to know that we can go ahead and put it on. You know, we don't want to put it on and then attempt to make the money afterwards. We need to know that we have a solid platform to be able to hire great people to put out great content. And then if donations come in, you know, fantastic, a bit like Steph was saying, we're a charity, anything that comes in extra gets pushed back into the year-round creative arts program that we run. But we can't be running virtual at a loss. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's a plea out there that if anybody wants to come and support Reading is Magic, probably May for next year, it'll be the digital side as much as anything that really needs looking at.
Yeah, and you know, I'm sure each of you would echo that point, that whether your structure is as a charity, as an arts organisation, as a commercial business, or in the case of the Bath Boules, which is a sort of a hybrid, it's a commercial company media clash organising on behalf of the charities. Whatever the structure is, money is needed. And if we've all learnt the absence of events and the value of them, then conversely now perhaps is the time for all sorts of businesses and individuals to think about stepping up, exactly as Kate has just said, whether it's that particular offering or what Carole was talking about. Now may be the time to step up, because everyone needs that support. Let me ask you this point. How are you viewing the coming year? Perhaps personally, but really professionally. Are you optimistic?
Yes.
Well, yeah, we
are at Bath. Oh yeah, no, that's not the end of it. Yeah, absolutely, we are. We're you know, we were talking a moment ago about the pent-up demand. We're really convinced that that is out there. People are desperate to get out in a safe environment, and being as we're outdoors, you know, we're pretty confident we can provide that. The appetite for football is there year round. We're about to see the start of the Euro 2020s brought forward from last year. We can't wait. You know, I was sat there watching a friendly last night, which I wouldn't normally do. I just couldn't wait just to be watching the footy. So I think, you know, that desire, that appetite is there, and we're really optimistic that will you know, will be something that everybody is keen to get back to. And then in terms of the non-football side of things, you know, we've had CrossFit move away, but we're talking to people to fill that space. And there are a lot of people talking to us about, you know, wanting to bring their new business ideas following the post-COVID reset down to Twerton Park. So plus some other sort of community kind of undertakings that are looking to move in. So, you know, the expectation that this next year is going to see a really great continuing development of Twerton Park as a proper community hub and a destination for the rest of Bath to come to, and not be reticent about coming to Twerton. We're really, really confident that that's starting to grow again and develop.
Kate, Holly and Steph, how are you viewing the coming year? Optimistic, confident?
I am. Sorry, Holly, you go.
No, you go.
I'll be very quick because I've taken up way too much time. But I think if I close my eyes and cross absolutely everything, I'm going to be at the recreation ground on the 7th and 8th of August, listening to McFly and UB40 and Scouting for Girls with our rescheduled finale weekend. And I'll be drinking in the VIP tent, and everything will be marvellous. And then we will roll into an autumn full of sport and culture and film and talking. And yeah, I think, yeah, and also possibly, you know, it'll be different again than how we imagined, but as long as we keep moving, I think I feel optimistic. Yeah.
And the special award for name dropping and explaining what the vista might be goes to Kate for each hitting those beats each time. Holly, you say?
Well, yeah, not to want to kind of be a downer on the mood, but the film exhibition at the moment is really, really worrying, because everybody has got very used to watching fantastic content online and virtually, and there is a massive, obviously, amount of content online. Disney has now started to release things simultaneously online and in cinemas. And obviously in cinemas like the size of the Little, if you can only have 50% capacity, then you are basically screwed. So I because we don't know, because we haven't got history yet, we don't know where we are in the pandemic. We don't know if we're at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end. And so I think it all feels quite precarious for cinema exhibition, with the caveat that that gives us the opportunity to do amazing and wonderful outdoor events. So we're hoping to do some screenings with the American Museum at the end of the summer in their new amphitheatre, which would be amazing. So it does make you do things in a new and creative and different way.
Some specific caution about the sector and the bigger picture about Hollywood and Netflix and streaming, of course, is absolutely central to the film world. How about you, Steph? Are you confident professionally?
Confident. I would say more optimistic than confident. Yeah, I mean, I'm a hardcore optimist, really, and I think the positivity can be so powerful. And just hearing everyone today and what we've done and what we've been through and how we can all adapt and stay agile with the situation, I'm hoping things can only get better. And if we can get a few live events under our belt, that really will help lift the spirits, I think.
Yeah, a few live events such as the Bath Boules on, what date was it again? Say the dates.
23rd to 25th of July. See you there.
It's not too far away, 6 weeks away. I want to bring, there's a question from Duncan McGibbon, which we've sort of touched on, but I think it comes into the event space. What can be done to reverse the retail obsolescence of the high street? Is part of the answer making retail, in a broader sense, an event?
Ooh.
Experiential, if not an event. What do we think? If you, that's not directly your world, but it's you as Bath residents and so on, and we all know what retail is. You look at retail as a sector. What can be done from an events perspective to help develop?
Well, you see, I think that's a broader question for us as a city of what can we do with all these empty, what were previous shops. And actually, there is a massive amount of creative things that we could do with those shops, and especially, again, the ones owned by Baines could, and I think they are, it may be Baines, but it may be Bath Bid, they are doing something with some of them where they can offer them out to do events in them, or to offer them to startups and say, we might kick you out in a week if Gap suddenly rocks back up and wants to move back in. But for now, you can have this space for next to nothing to help set up your business. So I think there's a lot of things. I don't know that we're going to get the retail back on the high street, or that we need it. Maybe we do for the footfall, but I think there's a lot of creative thinking that you can do around what can we do with those spaces to make our city more interesting, more dynamic, more cutting edge, and more diverse.
There's something called Parklets, which clearly isn't a panacea to everything, but if you're not familiar with it, have a quick Google. Start in San Francisco. It's about using areas, small micro areas of public realm for the greater good. It's a little bit like saying Milsom Street shouldn't be a thoroughfare or a place just to shop. It should be a destination we all wish to be in and experience. Any further thoughts about this? What can be done from an event type of perspective?
I mean, I like Holly's point, and I know that we've done it in previous years, particularly for the Children's Festival, where we've been allowed to use empty shops and create installations for children to come into, or writing workshops or storytelling, both in and out of public spaces, which has been really popular. It's lovely to actually go to a paid event, but then also as a family to be able to wander around the city and drop in and do 10 minutes of drawing, or listen to a poet and things. So those kinds of things work really well. And I guess maybe utilizing, getting to know the owners, if they're of the small businesses, through events is interesting as well. When you feel attached to somebody, their backstory of why they came to Bath and what their aims are, you're much more likely to want to go in there and build up a relationship. Somebody like Nick at Mr. B's is phenomenal at opening up that shop and offering just all kinds of services all the time. So it's not just selling, is it? You're really just trying to integrate yourself with the community. And it's certainly something at the festival we'd be interested in looking at and talking to people about, because it is great to be inside a venue, but it's also amazing as the festival goes on to feel that we have groups of people, whether it's local or tourists, coming around and exploring and finding new ways of spending their time in between the events.
Yeah. But we're coming towards the end of this. This time has flown by. I'll come on in a moment to ask you about, so I'll prep you for it, a piece of advice, either the best piece of advice you've been given in the broader world of events, or that you would give to events, companies and organisers. But prior to that, let's talk about Bath and Bath events as a whole. How do you think Bath will fare, perhaps compared with other cities? Do you buy the argument that it's perhaps insulated from some of the worst, albeit still affected?
I think it depends which bit of Bath you're talking about. If you're talking about the affluent bit of Bath, I think they're going to be fine.
And if you're talking about Bath Gestalt across the piece?
Then I'm not so confident. I'm not, it feels, I mean, doesn't it, sort of across the country, it feels as though that divide has been widened, that the inequalities between the genders, between classes has got much, much, much greater. And I think Bath seems to be particularly affected by that.
Just on that gender point, to Holly and to others, we had a very interesting session with the University of Bath a week or so ago, precisely about the gender effect of the pandemic. And there were some pretty strong and interesting views always around, but it's clear on most indices that the fault lines in society have been opened up and extended. That which was there before has been made worse by the pandemic, whether it's poverty, as you say, and Bath has had these deep, deep clefts, not pockets, deep clefts of poverty, which this time has made worse. But perhaps the standback about Bath as a city and its events, do you think net there will be, in not better shape, but in reasonable shape in 6 to 12 months' time? I would like to join on this.
I think there's going to be a lot of work to be done. I think if we think about who we're trying to reach, children and young people, especially who have, I'm a parent myself of, 2 terribly badly homeschooled children who are now thankfully back at school, and they have access to plenty of culture in the home because it's important to us. But there will be many, many children in Baines who won't have had that. And I feel greatly for them, that I want that back. For them, and to really do whatever we can to ensure that they have access to that, whether that's through authors going into schools, whether that's the schools signing up and watching events. They have spaces to talk about what this year has been like for them, what they would like moving forward. I think we owe them a real we really owe that to them, to these young people in Baines, particularly, to try and use events to help them make sense of everything, whether it's having fun, whether it's talking to other people, whether it's getting advice or inspiration from others. So I think for me, for the next 6-12 months, that would be really key.
Talking of advice, we'll come on to that in a second. There's been various comments on this. There's one from Dave Dixon, which is back to the council point. The political will exists, but total inability to actually deliver. He perhaps has a very specific perspective, having been a councillor, and is obviously a very prominent person in the Bath business community with Minuteman. There's another perspective from Mark Fisher. You're all trying very hard to make life better. This is I think, for the events cadre here, but also for Baines, which is admirable. But the people who work in the council appear to be looking after their own personal careers. Don't know. I think that whole area we should explore in greater detail, because the relationship about how a city is, in a broader sense, governed and its destiny is again, the fault lines have slightly opened up here during this time. I'm going to come back to the advice point. I'll ask you this: what's the smartest piece of advice you've had about the events world in recent times, or maybe both? What advice would you give someone looking to run or rerun an event?
I want to say that it's harder than you think. I think people come along and they just see that finished article, don't they? They come along and have a fantastic time, and they think, oh, this must be easy, a few phone calls and a couple of food trucks and you're away. But it is a really, it's a lot harder than you think. So I think people need to perhaps appreciate the event promoters that I'm surrounded by today, and it's a damn hard job.
I'm just going to quickly boomerang that back to you, Carole. Well, why do you do it then? Damn a hard job.
Because it's so damn important. You know, we talked about the social cohesion element of football, the joy, the ecstasy, the absolute despair. Those are amazing feelings that you can't replicate anywhere else. The social glue element, you know, all the different programs that we do at Bath City to ensure that we get a huge diverse array of people to come along. We support the refugee families to enable them to come along. We go into schools as well and get more kids along. Just, you know, that the whole of humanity in the city can come along and all just support, be on the same team. And that's so important, and it's so hard to achieve in any other way. And so for us to do that, and going back to the earlier point as well of, you know, the real divergences in the city. You know, I live in BA1, I cycle to work, and I've lost 9 years off my life expectancy when I get there. That's the stark difference that you get in the city. And again, people don't realise that 40% of kids are in poverty in Twerton. You know, these things are so important to shine a light on, and by keeping the football there and by, you know, engaging the whole community and making everyone come over to Twerton and you know, connect Twerton with the city, I think we helped to address that.
That was very strong indeed. If I could come back to that advice point, either received or given, from Kate, Holly, or Steph. Any thoughts?
I was definitely advised to just say out loud what your biggest kind of hopes and dreams would be, even during the pandemic, and not to kind of keep them bottled up. So whether you could reach any of them or none of them, it was still important to feel that you were creating and you were being creative. That's what we all live to do, and that was a really good piece of advice. And the other one was just rely on your team, because they were always got your back.
I think all of our creativity has been strength tested like never previously, and I'm sure it's exactly true. Relying on your team, and each of us in our business, you know, the fabulousness and adaptability of teams is extraordinary. Steph or Holly, advice?
So,
oh, sorry, you go.
This isn't a kind of broad bit of events advice, but it's my favorite recent bit of advice, which was when interviewing people, ask the person you're interviewing when they were last helpful to somebody, because helpful people will instantly be able to tell you when they were last helpful, because they notice. Or when they were last, not when they were last helpful themselves, when they were last helped themselves.
Okay.
Because people who are helpful help others.
Holly, that sounds like such a great piece of smart advice. I'm going to use it right now. So I'm interviewing you. When was the last time either you memorably either were helpful or were helped?
So I was helped massively yesterday when people came and took care of my puppy so that I could do some work.
Okay, maybe a little bit different to the domestic. Maybe, you know, from an event, from FilmBath or otherwise. Just give a shout out to people who've been very helpful for you.
So Green Park Station, who I would highly recommend to everybody. So Charles, that sort of manages the station, he's really keen to get events in there, and it's a brilliant venue because you've got all that footfall going through it. And it's obviously a magnificent big open space, and he couldn't be more helpful.
Brilliant, lovely. Steph, you've got the last shout on this. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Let's hear it.
There's so much, isn't there? I would really echo the team point. I think, you know, an event is not ever about one person. It takes so many, from, you know, the person that just does, you know, 10 minutes, a few hours, to overseeing it. Everybody plays their part. So that's a huge thing. Have good people around you, and just plan, have everything done as early as you possibly can. Something will not go to plan on the day, but if you're well planned in advance, then you should have the tools to deal with it. And I've the advice, I guess not advice, kind of like a philosophy that I was given in my early days, having one of those really tough times in event organising, is this shall pass. And we ended up using that as the slogan for the past year, through our magazines and our titles, because we've all kind of alluded to it today, there's those really tough times when you're putting on an event and it's a few days to go and it's really stressful, and you just think, in a few days it's all going to be over, and that kind of helps to regulate yourself. And then actually in the moment, because it's so amazing when you've pulled an event together and you see it happening, and just take a moment, because it's not going to last, and go, yeah, we did this. So yeah, that's my fave, really.
Well, let's pick up those last 2 points. One, dwell on the moment, and I hope that those watching this today have taken some good thoughts, good advice from our panel today. And two, in a very literal sense, this too shall pass. It shall pass because we're through midday, so we've got to go. Thank you to our speakers today: Kate Abbey of Bath Festivals, Carole Banwell, Bath City FC, Holly Tarquini of FilmBath, and Steph Dodd of Bath Boules and other Media Clash event. Thank you for your time and your questions. Lots of comments today, so thank you for that. Thank you also earlier to Louise Kelly, our business club sponsor, Mojus Druitt. And of course, thank you to all of you for watching today and for your support for Bath Life. Look out for that Bath Life Business Surgery we've referenced a couple of times with the University of Bath's School of Management on the 24th of June about entrepreneurialism. And of course, Ontraconf. We're talking about events. Well, it's our next biggest, which is July 1st, our major new conference for entrepreneurs. The future is unwritten. Good luck to you all in the coming months. This has been a Media Clash production, and this has been the latest Bath Life Business Club. Bath together, always. Thank you.